taking my close to my entire range on, so I will bet with my pocket jacks. And I'm going to bet smaller because of the stacks. I can bet small and still be able to shove a lot of turns. So I'm going to think for a bit. I'd shove like, you know, king jack if I 3-bet it, king queen, diamonds, all that stuff here. So if he has a 10, he's going to call me, I assume. He has pocket queens. It's quite unfortunate. Still, obviously, a fine play from me. So I'm open jamming 7-5 here. I think he's probably going to be playing tighter than Nash, which is going to make my shove pretty sweet. I'm going to minimize call with Queen 9 here at 14 bigs. It's obviously a sweet flop. And it's always nice to hold. Eight, 9 suited I like flatting with here at these stacks. Was considering trying to check raise a flop and see if he would be induced by that, but the thing is, like, even though I am check calling all these strong hands on the flop, I don't think he's seen any of them yet. And our history is from like a few months ago. It's from last year. We haven't played any games this year. Here, this is interesting. I mean, here he's not gonna. I doubt he's gonna. Whatever. He can have ace-x, so I can't really lead this river. I don't expect him to call me like super light. Not light enough for me to be able to. For me to be able to value bet the river here. At least I don't think so. Maybe he'd call me with like king high and all of his 3x and stuff like that. That's really weird that he checks that river too. It's also probably good. I mean, he's pretty susceptible to a river check raise if he does bet, so I guess the checking there is probably a pretty good option. Because I'd probably fold my 8x there if he did bet. So yeah, that was quite an interesting hand. 9-3 suited. Guess I'm just going to fold at this point. As I've said before a few times, his min-raising range seems quite tight at these stack depths. But again, there's a pretty good chance that 9-3 suited there was just a jam. It kind of depends on his calling range, which is something that I don't really know too much about. So still just min raising 100%. Here I'm going to check the turn. Don't really see myself getting much value by leading, but here on the river it's kind of a different story. Looks a bit weird for me to lead. I think he's probably going to bet an 8 on the turn, but he doesn't have many of them because he probably c-bets basically all of his 8s because he seems to c-bet a lot of his air, I guess. And I think that if he did have something like ace-8, he would probably bet the turn, and he should bet the turn if he had that. It's been another pretty long game here, 21 minutes. Played reg speeds to try and get a lot of deeper play, but it kind of ended up prolonging the short stack play, which wasn't really my goal, given that I'm doing turbo videos. Well, not given that I'm doing deeper stack videos, I should say. This would be a pretty bad build to c-bet on. I'm just going to get check raise and always have to fold at this depth. Any depth really. Gonna check the turn again and see what I can do on the river. I'm gonna call a bet or bet if check to. Hopefully trying to just get a hero call out of king high or something like that. Oh wow, we had a flush and check the turn. Not really sure why I checked the turn there when he's going to get value from hands like mine by leading. King 5 I think is probably the worst king that I flat here. And here I'm just going to check jam. Overcard and gut shot. Probably a lot of fold equity. I have like 40% if he has 4x and bet calls me, or 3x and bet calls me. Seven six again. It's a little bit deeper than Nash, but given that he's quite tight in other areas, I expect that he's probably calling tighter than Nash. So it's going to be a pretty decent spot to just open jam. Queen 10, kind of gross against an open shove. It is a Nash call, I'm pretty sure. It's actually a Nash call for 15 big blinds. I guess he's probably capable enough of jamming some suited connectors, and he's probably not going to jam the top of his range. So I think that calling there is going to be the best play, but I'm not really sure. That 3 deuce off, I should have been raised. Kind of losing focus a little bit here. 3-2 was definitely a min raise at 9 bigs. Folding is a mistake. Same thing with Queen 3. Basically just min raising like some of my top value. Open shoving sort of like the middling stuff, and min raising the bottom is going to be the best way to navigate short stacks against him, I think. Like, I think King 8 is, like, because he's going to flat so frequently, I think it's probably going to make me harder to play if I min raise this. I mean, it does make my shoving range a lot weaker, but I don't think it's too big of a deal. Seven bigs, I think, is probably a bit too short to min raise and fold. Like, I would almost have equity to call a shove. I don't think I'd quite have equity to call a shove. I mean, I might actually be quite a bit off because he's probably shoving relatively tight, like top like something percent. Top like 30 to 40, I would assume. I mean, he's played 4 out of 13 against my min raises at this step so far. So I'm going to jam over his limp here. I think that it's mostly weak hands with a few premiums in there. Like, this is, it's obviously ridiculous, but I just think I'm getting easily enough folds. So yeah, definitely shoving 7-4 suited there. I mean, again, it's pretty standard. There hasn't been a ton to talk about in this video, but maybe I've been kind of going over some of the standard concepts. Wow, that was awesome being 50-50 exactly on the flop there. But maybe I've gone over some of the standard concepts or basics too quickly for some people, which obviously if there's anything you're not sure about, please leave a comment and I will get back to that. Here, this might, eight bigs. I guess this is probably around as short as I'd min raise fold. Ten's obviously a standard call, and a 7 is a standard shove for him. Anyway, yeah, as I said, any questions or comments, please feel free to leave those in the chat, in the comments box, sorry, and I promise I will get back to those. Thanks for watching.